Okay, guys, so, excuse me, I'm fighting off a cold or something tonight. I wanted to show off my first attempt at building a simple factory. I wanted to build something with the new, well, I guess it's not new now, but new to me, contraptions add-on that lets you build building devices in Fallout 4. So I wanted to show my first attempt at making something useful, which was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It wasn't, all the pieces are pretty simple, but trying to fit them into a building and make the layout make sense was a little bit frustrating. So I thought I would show off my first factory attempt, and in case anybody wants to copy it or use it as inspiration, I'll do a quick overview first of exactly what it does, and then if you're interested, I will go in later on or at the end of the video and kind of get real detailed. So if you wanted to duplicate it exactly, you can, or you can kind of use it as your starting point. So this is going to be no mods whatsoever. This is all vanilla Fallout 4 playing on Xbox One. And this is my first factory here, which is inside of Sanctuary. I've already finished the main story quest, by the way, so if you haven't yet, there may be spoilers depending on what other NPCs walk by, just so that you know. So this is my main factory. It's 2 floors, using the warehouse structure pieces. In here I have my chem station, armor station, and weapon station. So I do all of my scrapping and modifying in here. And then my first factory is just to build ammunition only. For me, I'm not, there's really no other things that I'm interested in as far as being able to build myself, except for ammunition, really. I have, I collect all the legendary guns that I come across, and so I've got legendary versions of pretty much everything for myself to use. So I'm not real worried about building other weapons or other clothing items. So ammunition is what I built for. You could adapt this to do basically anything, though. So this is, there's 3 storage items here. Well, one's a vacuum hopper. This is the main input for the whole system. And then there's 2 outputs here. One of them is going to be items, and the other one is going to be components, so junk and stuff that you can break down. I'm also going to have, I haven't finished setting up all of the sorting so that everything comes through the item sorter yet. I've just got kind of the basics down, just so I could prove to myself that it worked before I made the video. But when this is all said and done, you will have nothing but junk come out of here, and also armor and weapons that I don't want, so that I can scrap them, and also things that you can create with, so like raw food that I need to cook and things like that. So basically this will all be, in this conveyor storage unit, will all be junk that I need to do something with, either toss it into the workshop or go cooking with it or what have you. And everything in here will be stuff that I care about, that I want to keep. And then also stuff that I just want to sell that I know is junk will go to this last one. So basically I should be able to come back from a dungeon, drop all my junk in here, and wait a short while, and this will sort all of my gear for me, as well as work to create ammunition when I tell it to. So, over here, I have the on-off switch. So basically this whole system is always running, even though it occasionally glitches and doesn't show you that that's moving. It is moving. I'm not walking. So the conveyor belts sometimes don't actually show their animation. I don't know why. But anyway. So, the system will always be on as far as the sorting capabilities, and then you can flip this switch to turn it on, which will activate just the ammo creation part of it. and I'll show you guys that in a little more detail in a second. So for the moment, I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to give you the shortest version I can of how this works, and then I will go through the detailed stuff for anybody who wants to try to recreate it or use it as a starting off point for your own ideas. So, let me go ahead and grab a bunch of junk. I'll just take all this stuff. So, you will drop everything into here. Whoop, where am I? Did I not just grab all the junk? I did just grab all the junk, didn't I? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I already put my junk away. I did. Okay. Just take everything out of the workshop for a moment then. That's fine. Alright. I'm only carrying 3,600 pounds of gear. It'll be fine. Alright. So I'm going to drop just a bunch of junk in here. Without any rhyme or reason, really. Just to get a bunch in there so that you guys can see this go through the process. Okay. So, with the system in off mode, stuff will come through here out of the vacuum, and you could put a container here if you wanted to, for it to suck out of, but I didn't really see the need. And then stuff will divert when it's off to that right branch and go up to the second floor. If it were turned on, it would go straight ahead instead through this other conveyor. And that's all that happens on the first floor at first. So this component sorter, I'm sorry, not component sorter, item sorter, will pull out stuff that I want and drop it here into the output. So things that I want to keep, like I always keep like the clean and laundered clothing for me to outfit my settlers with and stuff like that. That will all go there. Let's go upstairs and I will show you what happens up here. There's a block. Awesome. So, here's those 2 floor conveyors that we saw downstairs. Since it's in the off mode, it's coming up through the right hand one after that. There's like bottles randomly everywhere. I don't know why. So it'll go through the one on the right, which actually dumps straight into a hopper. And that hopper goes straight down to the junk output. So basically anything that doesn't get sorted by that initial item sorter downstairs comes up here, and it's going to go straight into the right hand most output where the junk and raw food and things like that will be. So anything that I don't want to keep essentially from that first item sorter is going to dump here. And that's the end of that line. It's as simple as that sorting, as when the machine's turned off, that's all that happens, for essentially. So let me turn it on and show you what it does different. So I'm going to turn it on, and now you can see things will go straight ahead to this left-hand side, up to the second floor instead now. And when they come through this left-hand side, you see there, they feed into a component sorter, which I apparently took everything out of. That's awesome, because I'm making a video. So, what you want in here is everything. I'm doing this for ammunition. If you can do this for whatever kind of builder you're using. But you want to have the junk types in here that you need to for ingredients. So I'm actually going to keep, there's only 5 or 6 ammunition ingredients: copper, fertilizer, oil, lead, steel, and plastic, I think. I might be forgetting one, but so for those of you who don't know how sorters work, basically you put one of the thing into the sorter's inventory, and then that is what it will sort out. So anything that goes through it with that as one of its components will get diverted out the other path. Copper, fertilizer, lead, plastic, steel. Oh, oil. I'm missing oil. So you want to put one of the broken. And if you're not sure how to get those, by the way, you can see I've got the search on there. If you go into your inventory and look at your junk column, on Xbox anyway, I'm sure it's different for PlayStation and PC, but if you hit the LB button, you can see at the bottom that says component view. Once you're in component view, you can use RB to put the magnifying glass on stuff to search for it. So I have it set for, right now it's set for just ammo items, as well as aluminum. Aluminum seems to be the only thing I run out of anymore at this stage of the game, because I make adhesive with the farming to make vegetable starch. So aluminum seems to be the one thing that I'm constantly out of. So this will sort out the ingredients that you need for ammunition, or whatever it is that you tell it to. You could replace this ammo plant with anything. And those will feed into the ammo plant, which will create your ammunition and then dump it into this hopper, which will merge. I'll go downstairs to show you. So it creates the ammo, and then it goes down this hopper and merges in with the stuff I want to keep output, right? The non-junk output, basically. This vacuum hopper over here that you see, so you see there's this whole other line over here. This is actually not powered right now because the system is on. What happens is when you flip the switch to turn the system off, in addition to moving that diverter down on the first floor, it will activate this vacuum hopper, which will suck any ingredients that are still in the ammunition plant out and drop them into the junk output, so nothing gets... Whoa, got a couple basketballs. Where'd he go? I know I just dropped one. Alright, anyway. So, yeah, well, oh, see, it just sorted some. I can hear the ding. There it goes. Oh, that's fertilizer, I think. Wow. Okay, so balls don't work very well with the conveyor belts. They get kind of hung up a lot. One thing that I couldn't figure out at first, because Fallout doesn't have too much in the way of instructions, if you're looking at something that you could otherwise pick up, you can hold the A button in Xbox to kind of pick it up by your character like this to move around. And so if anything ever gets like messed up on one of these conveyor belts, you can use that to kind of move things along, or you can always just kind of kick it. So you can see this has some stuff going in. I don't know what that must have in there for components, but it's set to actually make 10mm rounds right now, which is going to be lead and fertilizer that it needs. Oh, there's the ball I dropped. I guess I should probably put just what it is that I need for the 10mm so I can show this work. It's getting backed up. I don't really know why it happens, but every once in a while these machines get backed up. So that does happen. It usually sorts itself out after a minute. There's a bunch of fertilizer in there now. So once it has enough ingredients, this will just start cranking out whatever kind of ammo you set it to. But I will just go and turn the system off so you can see what happens for its cleanup when the system is turned off. So if I turn this to the off position, this will start diverting again, so it just skips the component sorter and the ammo machine completely. You can see the stuff that's not an ingredient for ammo coming down this junk output line. And if we run upstairs again, you can see this vacuum hopper is now on, and it's sucking the stuff out of the ammo hopper so that it comes back down at downstairs, so that nothing is, if I'm going to be doing building in the facility, there's nothing else that's going to be left just wasted in the system, so that I can't access it from the workshop. Looks like this is finished emptying itself, so now the component sorter is going to be done using. There's still a few things in here, but you can see those will get all sucked out shortly, and then everything will end up in the junk output. So basically that's the whole system. It's not super, nothing extra fancy. It's just a real basic sorter coupled with an ammo plant that you can turn off and have everything come out into the sorter at the end. So that way, you can fire it up and let it build off some ammo when you need it, and when you don't need it, it'll get all your junk downstairs to you so that you can use it for something else. So my intention for this is that this will be my one stop every time I come back from a place. I can do any kind of mods or building or scrapping armor and weapons that I don't want to keep. I should be able to dump all my stuff into here, whether it's armor, weapons, or random clothes, or what have you, and also the junk, and it will just sort out the way it needs to. And I can worry about it later. Like if I'm ready to build stuff in Sanctuary or in my settlement, wherever, you can just go over to this junk output, grab everything, run over here, store all junk, and you're ready to go in no time. So basically I'm not going to keep anything stored in the workshop except for components and raw foods that I might use at a cooking station or what have you. Everything else will be kept, that I care about, will be kept in this storage box right here. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You can see I've got that other junk that I dropped in for demonstration purposes. Is still, oh, it's almost done in fact. So that's everything that I dropped in there is almost gone through the system already. So there's aluminum, the infamous aluminum that I'm always out of. Alright, so I hope this was helpful. I'm going to go over the building exactly, so that if you're interested in replicating this or any portion of this, you can. So stick around if you're interested in that. If not, please leave comments below. This is my first time building something with this machinery and conveyor belt stuff in Fallout, so it's not as advanced as some of the other people, but I'm pretty proud of it, and I can't believe that Fallout just crashed while I'm making a video. So y'all get to see that happen. Ever since I started playing with this, I've noticed that playing with the conveyor belts and stuff, I've noticed Fallout crashes periodically when I'm around my conveyor belt. I don't know, and I'm not using any mods, so it's just vanilla. It's just a bug in vanilla, I guess. But it wouldn't be so bad if loading didn't take 3 minutes. Yay, we're in. Okay. Sorry about that. We're back. Alright, so I'm going to go through the detailed layout for those of you who would like to put in the effort to replicate this in your settlement. Or if you, just want to take this as some inspiration. So, let's go into building mode. The floors, so I'm doing this in Sanctuary, in case you didn't notice. You should be able to do it anywhere as long as you can make a large enough floor space. I'm using shack foundations, which are under the wood floors section, as my floors, and you can see it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 by 6 shack foundations. The system's on right now. So that's the floor space. If I wanted to mess with the alignment a little bit, I could probably fit it into 6x5, but I wanted to have the floor space around the outside because I'm probably going to move my robot workbench in here and stuff as well. So I am like way overloaded with gear right now. Get rid of some of this stuff so I don't end up running out of AP and can't run around anymore. So this is all that stuff that will just run through the system normally and not be stored in here. But, oh, I just put away my bandana. This is all junk that I haven't run through the system. Actually, most of this armor and stuff I'm going to scrap. I don't keep much armor. Oh, and I put away my wedding ring too. That's awesome. What do we got? Gunner's camo bandana, which I keep, and we're waiting. What else is weighing me down? I got some pistols, some lasers. Yeah, like a bunch of junk. Pretty much all this stuff I break down. I give my settlers the miniguns, but I don't really keep any of the other spare weapons. Tons of this stuff. I'm just going to put a bunch of the stuff away until I'm under my weight max. I'll sort it later and give back what I care about. Okay. Now I'm under my weight max. Alright, so 7x6. I have my main power input is coming through a conduit in this back left corner. Right here, I have a conduit pass through, and that's just straight power off of my power network. And that's coming in right here. And I've got a power connector or conduit junction right there. And that's what is the main power source for everything in here. You'll see in a second I've got another conduit junction there. I'll show you that at this point in a second. So this stuff over here is just for the on-off lights, just because it looks neat, and I haven't played with the logic gates yet, so that's really unrelated. So I'm just going to kind of skip over that. You will need a terminal connected to everything for you to set what your ammo machine's going to make. I just moved my population terminal into here because it will serve the purpose, all the same purposes as a regular terminal does as well. So I didn't really see a need to have extra terminals laying around. Then I've got an on-off switch, which is a conduit switch, which is connected. So here's my main power that comes in, and then I have a short piece of conduit, and then the conduit switch, and then another wall pass-through, which is on the outside there. And at the top of that conduit wall pass-through is another junction, and a few, 1, 2, 3 long pieces of conduit, followed by another junction. So that junction is hooked up to the diverter. So basically, this is the main power coming in from, that's the main power coming in on the left side wall. So there's, when you come in, the left side wall has the power that's constant coming in. Then it goes through this switch. So now this junction is switched. And so all this conduit is on the switch. And that powers the diverter to be on-off. Pretty straightforward, I think. All these other junctions that you see here laying around, these are all just power conduits to power the lights in the building. So that's unrelated. You can light this however you want, conduit lighting or wall lighting or what have you. So you guys can figure that part out. So this is a switch junction. So one of them, the conduit going with the switch powers the diverter. The constant power goes to the main line here. I think it's actually wired. Yeah, right there. So it's wired to the vacuum hopper. So this whole unit, this whole bottom floor, everything stays on at all times. This section over here to the right, this is physically separate from the other ones. So I've got a wire going from here to that hopper to power them. So let's talk about these lines. So we know it's 6 by 7 is the floor space. And the second to last one is where I've thrown a staircase to get up to the second floor. So that tells you, where to position stuff. And I started right here, so this is like 2 in from each side, roughly, is the vacuum hopper input. Followed immediately by an item sorter. Followed immediately by a rate branch. And then the 2 conveyor belt lifts. Now this one, I'm going to just get rid of the floor here so you guys can see better. That doesn't help if the dang lights go away, doesn't it? Let's turn on my flashlight. Okay. So this leftmost one is a U shape or C shape, so it comes right back on itself. The other side, get the floor out of the way, you can see it goes up and turns to the right. Okay? So that's how those are both set up. So coming out of the output, the sorted output of the sorter is just a right turn and then the conveyor storage. Nothing else. Let's go upstairs next, I suppose. So, coming out of this U-shaped lift with the one that turns back on itself, you immediately have a left turn, which goes into a component sorter. The component sorter's output goes into the ammo plant, or whatever other builder you want here, and straight into a hopper, and you can see it's centered on the hopper. So things will snap. In case some of you don't know, if you haven't messed with these much, I'm going to go over to manufacturing, conveyor belts. I'm going to grab a little one. That's not. So I'm just going to grab one of these to show you. So you can snap on the right, the middle, or the left. So if you snap on the left and right, you can fit 2 into one side of a hopper. And then if you snap in the middle, obviously you can't fit anything else on that side. So that makes hoppers really good. They're actually the only way to merge lines. So like you see that branch down below, you can separate, it's one input and 2 different paths out, but there isn't a built-in conveyor belt that will bring 2 different input paths together into one output path. So that's actually one of the real benefits of a hopper, other than moving things down to a lower floor. It merges more than one path. So if you could theoretically have 8 different conveyor belts feeding into one hopper, and it would come out in one spot. Alright, so let's go back here. Oh, I forgot, I got rid of that floor. Sorry guys. Let me go ahead and put that floor back real quick. So that I can walk around with you. Warehouse floor. So let's go ahead and just put the floor back. So in case you're wondering, yes, this is up on the second floor. I'm using warehouse floors. Even though I used shack floors. Whoa. Shack floors down below. So no particular reason for that. I just did it. Alright. So there's the U-shaped one, which connects to the left turn. Oops. Clearly, I don't do this very often, so I'm sorry. Right turn, left turn. So there's the left turn. So that feeds into the component sorter, which goes to the builder, which we already talked about. On the other side of the component sorter, you just have a left turn. And that goes, it's left aligned into a hopper. And we'll go over here, coming out of the other lift, the one that turns to the right. It's just got one straight piece of conveyor belt, and also feeds into the hopper, and it's aligned to that same corner as that one. As for the vacuum hopper, for when the system's turned off, I have, it's probably easiest if you started on this end, that way the alignment over there will be right. So you can snap this left turn to this corner, then you'll have a straight piece, then a right turn, then a short straight piece, and then the vacuum hopper. And that will come up with just a little tiny bit of clearance, and so that will allow it to suck things out of there. Now up here, I have another conduit wall pass through, and on the outside that's connected to the one downstairs that's on the switch. So that gives me a piece of conduit up here that I just run around to another junction. So this is what's powered by the switch along with that diverter, and that controls the vacuum hopper. So those are the same. So if the diverter's on, the vacuum hopper's on, and vice versa. And that's all there is to them. I've used warehouse walls to make it nice and tall. The warehouse wall's height is what lines up well with these the hoppers in this. I think the barn walls are the same height, so you could use those if you wanted to instead. And then I used some of the angled roof pieces, just to make the upper floor be a little extra big. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I think I've got to gotta fix my electrical to power the lights a little bit. When I killed that, got rid of that floor piece, I got rid of some stuff I needed. But other than that, that's pretty much it. You guys can do the arrange the lighting however it is you see fit. And that's all there is to it. So, the hoppers, I'll show you that real quick, just in case it's not obvious. This hopper, which is the output from the builder, is going to have its output facing this way. So the items actually, when it drops out, it kind of drops that way, and then the conveyor belt pulls it back this way. And this other hopper is facing straight into the conveyor storage. And here's another really useful tip for getting this last piece aligned well. If you go into your conveyor pieces, and I'll actually get rid of this one so that there's nothing there for it to snap through. So the pieces that are elevated, that have feet under them, these don't line up very awesome. Sometimes you can get it to line up just right, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to get it. So I can't. Oh, there it goes. So you have to mess with it a lot. But if you go to a piece that has no floors, it actually snaps. If I mess with it for a minute. Really? Is it gonna make a liar out of me now? Well, it snapped earlier when I was building this the first time. I'm clearly losing my mind. Okay, well, I thought it had snapped. Maybe I was totally imagining. Okay. Beats the heck out of me. Oops. Whatever. Okay, maybe I was wrong. But anyway, I would recommend, as far as build order, start with this vacuum hopper, the input, and do your best to square it up when you start so that it's going to be at all at right angles. It's a real pain in the butt if you get most partway through this and realize you're not lined up. If you're OCD, it's going to annoy you. So that will line up that stuff here, and we'll line up all these. These will line up all of this stuff, and then these connect there, and then start here, and that will line up this last line here. And that's it. So, and then I did, to get the flooring to go in around these hoppers, it was a little frustrating. It doesn't quite work right. So these are actually the small floorings, and if you look, you can see there's actually a couple gaps where they haven't snapped to the right spot. I couldn't get them perfect, but I got them good enough that you don't fall through. And there is one spot over here that I put some scaffolding around because I could not get a piece of flooring to snap in here. So there was a hole there, and I didn't want to ever accidentally fall through it. So that's all there is to that. When you're setting this up and just messing around with timers and stuff, you can see that stuff will occasionally get clogged up. It seems to have a hard time when you're going into menus a lot. Like when you go into the menu, all the conveyor belts pause, basically, except the things that are outputting items don't pause. So when you unpause or leave your menu, you'll have like a big pile of stuff, and sometimes it'll spill onto the floor, or just kind of pile up in there and not kind of get grabbed by the conveyor belt right away. So you'll just have to kind of get used to checking for that once in a blue moon. But yeah, this should be everything you guys need to know, I think, to build this. So everything is always on except for this vacuum hopper line is on the switch, and the diverter is on the switch. Everything else is always on. So not too complicated for wiring. And then you just wire up whatever lights you like. Some more balls that are stuck. So wire up whatever lighting you prefer, whatever suits your style. And that is all there is to it. So I hope if you guys like this, please leave comments below. If you guys know solutions to any of the little quirks of the expansion that I've complained about, please let me know that. If you have ideas for ways for me to do this a little better or smarter, please share. And otherwise, I think that's it. So I am out.